Here, in the heart of Texas, lies a city cradled by water, San Antonio. Its river, the lifeblood of this place for centuries, winds through the urban landscape like a great green serpent. The sun warms the ancient limestone of its missions and glints off the modern glass of its towers. This is a city of vibrant life, of celebration, and of history etched into every stone. The air is thick with the scent of cypress trees and the distant joyful sounds of mariachi music drifting from the river walk. It is a portrait of prosperity, a carefully curated garden of human achievement and natural beauty, a place where the past and present seem to dance in perfect harmony. But look closer, listen deeper. Beyond the laughter and the music, another sound emerges. It is a quiet sound, carried on the same breeze that rustles the leaves of the great live oaks. It is the sound of struggle. Along the city's wide, sun-baked streets, and in the forgotten corners of its open parks, a different story unfolds. This city, like so many great ecosystems, has its hidden territories and its shadowed inhabitants. Here, the carefully tended beauty of the downtown core gives way to a raw, more untamed reality. It is a place where the city's celebrated warmth can feel like a relentless, oppressive force for those without shelter. The landscape itself tells this story of two faces. The river that offers tourists a gentle, meandering boat ride becomes, just a few miles downstream, a wilder, less forgiving entity. Its banks, thick with undergrowth and untended grasses, provide a different kind of sanctuary. Here, the city's hum fades into a low, constant drone, a backdrop to a more primal existence. The wide, open spaces that define San Antonio, its sprawling parks and undeveloped outskirts, become both a refuge and a place of exposure. They are the frontiers where the city's polished veneer wears thin, revealing the human cost of its expansion. We are here today, on this humid morning of June 30th, 2026, to explore these hidden territories. We seek to understand the delicate and often brutal balance of life that exists within them. It is a journey not into a foreign wilderness, but into the wilderness that grows in the heart of our own communities. We will tread lightly and listen carefully to the whispers of the wind and the river, for in these sounds, and in the lives of the people who reside here, there is a profound story about survival, adaptation, and the enduring, and sometimes desperate, human spirit. If you found this story meaningful, please subscribe to our channel for more in-depth documentaries and powerful human stories from across our communities. Your support helps us continue to shine a light on the stories that matter. Along the riverbanks, away from the manicured pathways, a new kind of habitat has taken root. These are the tent camps. They appear like strange, colorful fungi that have sprouted overnight from the damp earth. Blue, gray, and green tarps are stretched taut over makeshift frames, forming a patchwork colony nestled amongst the trees. They are shelters woven from necessity, constructed from the cast-off materials of the city that surrounds them. Each one is a testament to the instinct to create a home, however fragile, against the elements. The air here feels different, thicker, heavier, and filled with the scent of damp fabric, wood smoke, and the river's muddy perfume. The inhabitants move with a quiet, deliberate economy of motion. They are like creatures who have learned to conserve their energy for the long hunt of survival. Their faces are maps of hardship, etched with lines of worry and sun-weathered resilience. Some sit silently, staring into the slow-moving water, lost in thoughts we can only imagine. Others tend to small, smoldering fires, their movements practiced and methodical. The sounds are hushed here. A quiet cough, the rustle of a plastic bag in the wind, the distant, mournful cry of a train. It is a community of whispers, where life is lived in the margins, just out of sight. These encampments are ecosystems of their own, with complex social structures and unwritten rules. People are drawn here for reasons as varied as the individuals themselves. For many, it is a retreat from the perceived dangers and rigid structures of official shelters. Here, there is a semblance of autonomy, a space to call one's own. It offers a community of shared experience, a place where one is not judged for their circumstances. The river provides a source for washing, and the trees, a shield from the relentless Texas sun. It is a fragile independence, a life balanced on a knife's edge, but for some, it is preferable to the alternative. Yet this fragile peace is constantly under threat. The wind, which whispers secrets through the trees, can also become a destructive force, tearing at the thin walls of these homes. A sudden downpour can turn the ground to mud, flooding their meager possessions and washing away their sense of security. The distant city, with its laws and its authorities, is a constant, looming presence. The residents live with the perpetual uncertainty of eviction, the knowledge that this small patch of ground they call home could be taken from them at any moment. Their existence is as precarious as a bird's nest on a slender branch. A new and formidable predator has entered this fragile ecosystem. It is not a creature of flesh and blood. It does not stalk its prey on four legs. It is a chemical, a synthetic substance known as fentanyl. This substance has moved through the community with the silent, invisible speed of a plague. Its arrival has changed the very nature of survival on these streets. It offers a powerful and profoundly dangerous escape from the pain of this existence, the physical pain of living outdoors, and the deeper emotional pain of loss, trauma, and despair. Fentanyl's power lies in its simplicity and its potency. It is a synthetic opioid, many times stronger than the medicines it was designed to mimic. A dose no larger than a few grains of salt can be enough to end a life. It preys on the brain's most fundamental wiring, flooding it with a sense of warmth and euphoria that momentarily erases all suffering. But this relief is a mirage. It is a trap from which it is incredibly difficult to escape. The body quickly learns to crave it, and the brief moments of peace are replaced by a desperate, all-consuming need for more. The presence of this predator is felt everywhere. It creates a new layer of danger and unpredictability within the camps. It turns neighbors into potential threats and isolates individuals in a cycle of use and desperation. The communal spirit, so vital for survival, becomes fractured by suspicion and fear. A person in the grip of this substance is like an animal caught in a snare. The more they struggle, the tighter the trap becomes. Their focus narrows to a single, desperate goal, eclipsing the need for food, for shelter, for human connection. It isolates them, pulling them away from the very community that might offer a path to safety. The city itself is struggling to adapt to this new threat. The usual methods of outreach and support are often not enough. Fentanyl's grip is so strong, its effects so devastating that it requires a new level of understanding and intervention. The human cost is staggering. We see it in the vacant stairs, the slow, shuffling gaits, and the tragic, sudden losses that ripple through this community. This synthetic shadow has fallen over the riverbanks, adding a terrifying and urgent dimension to an already desperate struggle for life. It is a silent hunter, and its territory is expanding. There is a constant, subtle movement happening across the city, an unseen migration. It's not dictated by the changing of seasons, but by the shifting pressures of survival. Folks move like herds of urban grazers, always seeking out new patches of relative safety and resources. More often than not, this migration is forced. A camp cleared by authorities from a park on the north side will scatter its residents, only for them to reappear days later, in smaller groups, along a forgotten creek bed on the west side. They're in a constant search for ground that is, for a time, undisturbed. These movements, well, they're guided by an intimate knowledge of the city's hidden geography. Folks know which underpasses offer the best protection from the rain, which patches of woods are least likely to be patrolled, and which commercial areas offer the most opportunity for finding discarded food or collecting cans and scrap metal. This is a map of survival, drawn not on paper, but in the collective memory of the displaced. They follow the city's arteries, the highways and railway lines, using them as corridors to move from one temporary haven to the next, always staying within the shadows. Like animals adapting to a changing environment, these individuals have learned to live in the spaces in between. They occupy the buffer zones, the undeveloped lots between sprawling subdivisions, and the industrial wastelands on the city's fringe. These are places most people drive past without a second glance, landscapes considered empty or useless. But for this population, their territory's rich with possibility. They offer a degree of anonymity and a buffer from the mainstream world. The constant hum of the nearby highway becomes a kind of white noise, masking their existence from the world rushing by. This nomadic existence takes a tremendous toll. There's no stability, no chance to put down roots, however shallow. The constant stress of being moved along, of having to pack up one's entire world at a moment's notice, is exhausting. It wears down the spirit as much as the body. Each displacement is a fresh trauma, a reminder of their precarious place in the world. This endless migration is not a journey toward a destination. It is a cycle of movement without progress, a desperate effort to simply remain. It's the behavior of a species pushed to the very edge of its habitat. If you stand still and listen, truly listen, the land itself seems to speak of this crisis. The sound is a symphony of sorrow. The wind, as it moves through the dry leaves of the mesquite trees, doesn't sound like a gentle rustle. It sounds like a long, drawn-out sigh. It's the sound of weariness, of a landscape that has borne witness to too much suffering. It carries the scent of dust and exhaust from the nearby freeways, mingling with the earthy smell of the river. The distant drone of traffic is a constant, low growl. The sound of a world that is moving on, indifferent to the lives being lived in its margins. The river, too, has its own voice. Here, away from the cheerful tour boats, its gentle lapping against the shore sounds less like a greeting and more like a lament. The water is murky, carrying the city's forgotten things downstream. A plastic bottle bobs in the current, followed by a tattered grocery bag, like ghosts of a consumer society. These are the artifacts of a world of plenty, now floating past those who have nothing. The mournful call of a lone grackle from a telephone wire seems to punctuate the silence, a sharp metallic cry that hangs in the heavy air. Even the light here seems different. In the early morning it filters weakly through the canopy of trees, casting long, distorted shadows on the ground. It's a world of silhouettes and half-light, where things are not always clear. The harsh midday sun does not illuminate, it exposes. It beats down on the thin fabric of the tents and the unsheltered ground, offering no relief, only a relentless, baking heat. This environment, which can be so beautiful, becomes an adversary. The natural world, in its indifference, mirrors the indifference of the human world around it. These environmental sounds and sights create a powerful sense of presence, a feeling of being immersed in this reality. The buzz of a fly, the distant bark of a dog, the crunch of dry grass underfoot. Each small detail adds to the weight of the scene. It is a multi-sensory experience of neglect. The land feels wounded, and the people living upon it are the physical manifestation of that wound. Their quiet suffering is absorbed by the very soil and water, and it is whispered back to us on the wind, a quiet, constant reminder of a deep imbalance. In the face of such overwhelming hardship, it would be easy to see only despair. It would be simple to conclude that this is a battle already lost, but to do so would be to overlook the most resilient and remarkable force at play here, the human instinct for hope. Even in the deepest shadows of the riverbank and in the grip of a powerful chemical predator, that instinct endures. It is a quiet flame, flickering in the darkness, but it refuses to be extinguished. We see it in the smallest of gestures, the most fundamental acts of our species. We see it in the man who carefully sweeps the patch of dirt in front of his tent, an act of creating order in a world of chaos. We see it in the woman who shares her meager portion of food with a neighbor whose luck has run out for the day. This is the essence of community, the social bonding that has allowed our species to thrive for millennia. It is the recognition of a shared struggle and the impulse to help one another through it. These are not grand acts of heroism, but they are acts of profound humanity, and they are happening here every single day. Hope is also visible in the tireless efforts of those who come from the outside to help. The outreach workers who know the residents by name, who bring water, medical supplies, and a compassionate ear. They are the emissaries from the other world, bridging the gap between the two faces of San Antonio. They arrive not with judgment, but with the simple, powerful message that these lives matter. Their presence is a lifeline, a tangible sign that the wider world has not forgotten them entirely. They are planting seeds of trust in soil that has been barren for a very long time. Ultimately, the story of these streets is not just a story of fentanyl, tents, and human cost. It is a story about the enduring power of the human spirit. To look upon this scene requires us to find empathy, to see not a problem to be cleared away, but people who are lost and in need of a path home. The solution is not simple, but it must begin with understanding. It must begin with the recognition that these are our fellow human beings. And as long as the instinct to care for one another survives, then hope, too, will survive. And hope is the first, most essential step toward change.